On behalf of the Alumni Board of Directors, welcome back to campus. Just great to see everybody here. The Alumni Board of Directors has met for the last day and a half or so, and we finish that meeting typically with the Boltmans at their house, Dr. and Mrs. Boltman. And as that conversation winds down after a day of meetings, generally this is what happens, and I've been through 6 of these now, but we start sharing with each other, how do we bring people with us and experience what the Board of Alumni have experienced over a day and a half? And how do we tell people how rich the student-faculty relationships are, how rigorous the instruction is, how well our kids are doing on the athletic fields, what's happening with the chapel program and the spiritual life on campus? How do we bring people along? Well, part of bringing people along is gatherings like this. To introduce the awards section, I wanted to share a little bit of a personal experience. A couple of months ago, I got up early, which isn't completely unusual for me, and I turned on ESPN to catch the morning sports report, and Neil Everett, one of my favorite announcers, is announcing. A few minutes into his program, he says, coming from a campus, college campus, appropriately called Hope. I had 2 thoughts. One, I said, Neil Everett gets paid to deliver that line a lot better than I do, and he did. And my second thought was, if he only knew. If he only knew how appropriate that statement was. Part of the Alumni Association is recognizing distinguished alumni, people who have served and given of their time, but it also is a reflection of this year we'll have 30,000 living alumni with this graduating class next Sunday. And in the world, they're making a difference in many places, and we should just applaud our college and our community for our alumni and the things they do in general. So give ourselves and the people of Hope a round of applause. Starting our program, I'd like to introduce David Dobbins-Beck. David, if you could come up. David's been on the board with us for 6 years. He is a hometown Holland boy who went to Southern California. So when David comes to town, he has to get the sweaters and the warm clothes back out of the closet and stay warm. But we've enjoyed having David here. He has been a great member, and this will be his last meeting. So welcome, David.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Connie Boersma, we are proud to honor you tonight with the 2011 Meritorious Service Award in recognition of your countless contributions to Hope and its alumni through notable personal service and longtime involvement with the college. You grew up at Hope, where your father, the late Bud Hinga, was a member of the teaching, coaching, and administrative staff for 29 years. From this beginning, you have stayed actively involved in the life of the college ever since. While attending Hope, you majored in education, and as a student participated in activities including athletics, the Sigma Sigma sorority, and the Glee Club. You happily and habitually attend a broad range of events at Hope, including academic lectures, concerts, plays, and athletic competitions. Your dedicated involvement includes serving communion during the gathering, a Saturday evening worship service organized by the campus ministry, of which your son Paul is a chaplain. You've also been active in planning for your class reunions and have assisted in fundraising efforts at the college. In addition, you are a past president of the Women's League for Hope College. Your legacy at Hope extends beyond you as an individual through your leadership within your family. Your late husband, Max, was a member of the college class of 1946 and was president of the Alumni Association from 1957 to 1959. He was also a member of the Board of Trustees from 1981 until his passing. Together, you two created the endowment for the Hinga Boersma Dean of the Chapel, and the college presented you, rightfully so, with Distinguished Alumni Awards in 1978 and honorary degrees in May of 2003. All of your children and 7 of your 9 grandchildren have followed in your footsteps as Hope students and alumni. That's fantastic. Connie, your impact extends beyond campus as well. You and Max were longtime residents of Grand Rapids, where you were active members of Central Reformed Church and served as foster parents through the juvenile court program. You also helped initiate a Big Brother program in Grand Rapids. You remain active in a variety of community organizations. In short, your life, Connie, your life of service is certainly one of outstanding merit. It is appropriate, then, that tonight you receive the 2011 Meritorious Service Award. Would you join me on the platform?
I had my first love affair with Hope College when I was 4 years old. That's the year that my father took a position on the Hope College faculty as a teacher and a coach. My brother Bill Hinga and I grew up surrounded with Hope College students. We always had a Hope College girl living with us as she worked for her room and her board. Then we also had numerous athletes eating at our table because they were my dad's athletes. I met Max Boersma the summer before I started Hope College. He had attended Hope, but was now in the service, serving World War II. After I graduated from Hope College, Max and I were married. Our 3 children, Bill and Betsy and Paul, all attended Hope College. 8 of our grandchildren attended Hope College also. So you can see what a tremendous effect Hope College has made upon my life. I am very honored to receive this award this evening, and to God be the glory. Thank you.
I'm very pleased this evening to address you and to be back in Holland again. It's a highlight for me to make the trip from Germany here twice a year. Much has changed since I graduated in 1984, and it's always very heartening to have the opportunity to meet with alumni, meet with faculty, and also to meet with current students. It's also a pleasure this evening to present to you Dr. John Soderstrom. John, your leadership, spirit of innovation, and service to others are worthy of recognition. Tonight, we are proud to honor you as a recipient of the 2011 Hope College Alumni Association Distinguished Alumni Award. While at Hope, your activities included the Fraternal Society, football, and serving as sports editor of The Anchor. You majored in psychology. In fact, earlier this afternoon, I met with both your former psychology professor and your former English professor, who both spoke of you with very high regard. Following graduation, you completed your doctorate in psychology at Northwestern University in 1980. Today, you are the managing director of the Office of Cooperative Research at Yale University. You lead the management of the intellectual assets created at Yale, a job vital to public well-being and continuing institutional research. Since joining the office in 1996, you have participated in the formation of more than 25 new ventures that collectively have raised more than $450 million in professional venture capital. In 2007, you helped create the Yale Entrepreneurial Institute to help undergraduate, graduate, and professional school students at Yale launch their own new ventures. Your knowledge has also been shared beyond the walls of Yale. In fact, you've been contributing your expertise to Hope as the college has been developing its own entrepreneurial institute. You've also been a guest lecturer and class representative here on campus. Prior to joining Yale, you were the director of program development for Oak Ridge National Laboratory after serving for 10 years as director of technology licensing for Martin Marietta Energy Systems. You're a founding board member and a past president of the Association of Federal Technology Transfer Executives, as well as a leader of other professional associations and societies. You are frequently asked to lecture and teach seminars on the technology transfer process and economic development, both within the United States and abroad. You have testified before Congress and served as an expert witness in patent infringement litigation. In addition to your many professional accomplishments, you were honored as the 87th Point of Light by President George Herbert Walker Bush in March of 1990 for your volunteer activities helping to construct and rehabilitate low-income housing in East Tennessee. For all that you have accomplished and for all that you have yet to do, we are honoring you tonight with this 2011 Hope College Distinguished Alumni Award. John, would you please come forward?
So I have to tell you, this is probably one of the most humbling, gratifying, undeserved awards I probably have ever achieved. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart to all those who made this possible. I have been blessed. My life has been blessed from the moment I was born to Ann and Ed Soderstrom to the time I showed up at Hope College. This place is an amazing place. It changed everything about me. And for that, I am so grateful. There are a number of faculty members here, some of whom still remember me, like Stephen Hemingway and Jane Dickey and Dave Myers and others who cannot possibly imagine the difference that they made in my life, because they taught me one of the most important lessons, which it's not good enough to simply say that you are a Christian, to say that Jesus Christ is your personal Lord and Savior. You have to live it every day, in every way, always. I learned that lesson here, and it's probably the single most important lesson I took away. And I understand that you tried to get me to read all those books and literature and all that stuff. And there's a bunch of others who are out there wondering, how does a psychology major get to be doing technology transfer and patent licensing? That's a long story, we won't go there. But I did find my calling in life, my mission. And I was grateful to find out that the thing that I really have passion and am good at is the thing God put me here on this earth to do, and that's to start companies. I did not know I had that gift, but I do, and I have it with a passion. And when I start working with students, the energy level goes up tenfold over everything else I do. And so in the past year or two, I have come to Dr. Boltman and others, Rich Ray, and I think they've probably wondered what planet I fell off of when I came to them with this idea that students, undergraduate students at Hope College, could have ideas that could become the basis of starting new ventures. And that Holland, Michigan, West Michigan was exactly the right place to do that because it has an entrepreneurial culture that has existed here since the day the Dutch first landed. It is part of the DNA of this place. And when I think about the issues that face this country right now, the idea of innovation and technological new job creation through technological innovation, I cannot think of a place that I would rather see it try to start and flourish. This place has that potential in it. So I'm going to leave you with two challenges. One, I'm going to leave to the administration, which is continue the pursuit of excellence. If you have not engaged with this place lately, trust me, I'm not sure I would be admitted into this college anymore. The quality of the faculty, to your credit, has gone through the roof. The amazing people that they have and the facilities that have been created are just mind-boggling. So continue the pursuit of excellence. Don't stop short of trying to be not just very good, but the best. But in order for them to do that, and this is my homage to Provost Ray, they need us. They need each one of us in this room today. I challenge you, get involved. Find a way. You've got gifts, you've got talents. God made you uniquely you, and you have something to offer back. And if you do that, I will guarantee you the most exciting joyride of your entire life. And if you want proof of it, there are students out there, people like Drew Bourne, who is creating one of the first student ventures that we launched last year. Get involved. Find a way to get sticky with this place. Make yourself present. Show up. God loves you, and so do I. Thank you.
Bill, your extraordinary service to your country and to the field of medicine brings you honor tonight as the recipient of the 2011 Hope College Alumni Association Distinguished Alumni Award. Your recognized and continued career had a solid foundation. At Hope, you majored in chemistry, where your activities included football and the Cosmopolitan Fraternity. After graduation, you completed your MD degree at Yale University Medical School. In 1960, you entered active duty in the Army, where you were involved in both clinical and academic aspects of military medicine. You served 2 tours in Germany, the second as Chief of Surgery at the 5th General Hospital. You were also the commanding officer of the 44th Surgical Hospital and the 11th Evacuation Hospital, both in Korea. In 1975, following 3 years on the surgery staff at Fitzsimmons General Hospital in Denver, you joined the Department of Surgery at Letterman Army Medical Center, a teaching hospital in San Francisco. You became chief of the department in 1978 and commanding officer in 1987. You received multiple decorations during your time in the U.S. Army, including the Meritorious Service Medal and the Legion of Merit. Since retiring from the Army, you've remained active in the medical community. You have served as a field representative, medical director, and clinical professor for multiple councils, organizations, and institutions. Today, as a surveyor for the Joint Commission International, you travel all over the world to provide assistance in assessing standards compliance with a focus on improving the safety of patient care. I learned just this afternoon that you've been involved in assessing over 500 hospitals in 20 and more countries. In addition, you have authored and co-authored 30 articles in medical journals, co-authored a medical textbook, and authored chapters in 2 medical texts. Your additional qualifications and certifications in this area are too numerous to mention. As your career has taken you across the country and around the world, you and your late wife and Hope classmate Joan stayed involved with the college. Tonight, I'm honored to be able to recognize you, along with the Alumni Board of Directors, for your years of exemplary service, past and present, and we honor you with this 2011 Distinguished Alumni Award. Please come forward.
When I found out I was going to be asked to come up here and say a few words, I thought, what a tremendous opportunity. I can turn the tables on so many of you. Where else in the world can I find so many preachers and retired preachers down there in the chairs, and I can stand up here and talk as long as I want? But I decided I wouldn't do that. And I just wanted to say, as you just heard, I spent 30 years in the Army, and a lot of you may remember watching your televisions and seeing the ads that said, "Be all you can be. Join the United States Army." Well, it didn't work that way for me, because I think I had the tools to be all that I could be before I ever was sworn into the Army. And the tools were probably 3 building blocks, the second of which was very much a major one. The first would have been my family. My dad was a preacher in rural upstate New York. And he's the one that I say literally funneled me into Hope College. I only applied to one college. I was accepted there, and that was Hope College. And I really didn't have a choice. He had decided that's where I was going to go to school. And that's the days when about a third of this school were people from New York and New Jersey. No longer the case. I think that's unfortunate. So that was the first block. Then I got to Hope. And it's interesting what people remember about you. Two people tonight said what they remembered about me is when I drove into Holland to start my sophomore year on that 1937 red Harley-Davidson motorcycle with the devil on the front fender thumbing his nose. And that's even Erwin Brink down here says that's what he remembered about me when I came back from my sophomore year. But I think Hope provided me with the intellectual basis for the rest of my career. And people like Professors Kleinaxel and Van Zyl and Oscar Thompson. I spent most of my time over on this side of the campus in the science building, and they provided me with those intellectual tools. And then there were certainly other people that provided me with the spiritual tools. And I remember people like Vanderlucht and people like D. Ivan Dijkstra and perhaps even Lambert Ponstein, who taught the fourth year course in Bible that we took. And they provided me with those tools. And then as we mentioned earlier today, you're provided with certain social tools. And I think the social tools really came from my classmates, some of whom are out here to my left, and the people that you had the opportunity to interact with. And so I think those were the things that enabled me to be all that I could be. And I should mention also Yale University that taught in the medical school the Yale system, a system where there were no required classes, no examinations, no grades, and they taught you to study for the sake of learning. And I think that was the third building block, so that by the time I got ready to go into the Army, I think I had everything I needed to be all that I could be. And I think Hope College is the place that put me at that level and enabled me to get into the school. And I'm very thankful to the school. Thank you.
I think the rest of you can see what the Alumni Association Board sees as we go through a bunch of resumes, a bunch of nominations, the quality of the alumni of Hope College. And we just appreciate you being here. For our final guest at the podium, please welcome Dr. James Boltman, President of Hope College.
Thank you, Bob. This is always, for me, one of the special evenings in the academic year. I just love it. And I've said on many different occasions that isn't it too bad that Hope students aren't here to see such special role models for their lives. And indeed, I think tonight we're taping this, so perhaps they will be able to see what living life well really looks like. Well, I want to thank Scott and Beth from our advancement team, Director of Alumni and Parent Relations, for arranging these days that we have been together. Thank you so much for that. I want to thank the Alumni Board for the extraordinary work that they do on behalf of all of us, and for Colleen and Kat and Jean and David and Mark, who are retiring from the board after 6 years of service. Thanks so very much to you for all that you have meant to Hope. We really appreciate it. And to our recipients tonight, and to their families who are here to bear witness to such a special evening. Thank you for all that you mean to this institution. Connie Boersma. What can we say about Connie that hasn't already been said? I mean, I love her, you love her, Everybody on campus loves Connie. Your father was the dorm parent when I came to Hope College as a freshman in 1959. He was in the latter stages of cancer, but I always remember what a major influence he was on so many lives. And then you and Max, all these years. There's a favorite story I have that is not original with me. Actually, I'm borrowing it from Moira Reynolds, who is in our registrar's office as a chief advisor to students. She tells the story when students first arrive at Hope in the fall, the freshman class. She tells them that they have the privilege of being at Hope because people who don't even know you have made sacrifices so you could attend this place. And she goes on to tell the story about a businessman and his wife who were long connected with Hope College, were blessed with resources, were parents to so many children, not just their own, but many others as well. Gave money back to Hope College in the form of scholarships and endowed chairs, served on every conceivable committee. And in retirement, they walked the campus with a bag and picked up the trash so that you could have a place to study and learn that was attractive. That's Connie Boersma. On campus, she's affectionately known as Grandma Boersma to every Hope student. I remember the day that Max died on the tennis court. As president, I was asked to then give this news to students in chapel just a few hours later that morning. I've never heard such quiet in all my life. I don't know of anyone else on campus that has more affection than Connie and Max Boersma. And Connie, you are everything that we would ever want a Hope graduate to be. Thank you for being such a great role model for us. And John, I first met you when you were a football player, and I was coaching with Ray Smith and a few others here at Hope. That was my first introduction to John Soderstrom. You were, of course, an exceptional student at Hope. I know you would still be admitted today if that's any salve to your conscience. And you took full advantage of a Hope College education. That certainly is clear. And then you were able somehow to parlay these skills into taking ideas, not just his own, but others too, and making something good happen out of them. Taking them and making them into profitable ventures. A skill that is unbelievably absent, I think, in most people. And then these past couple of years, you've come back to Hope and said, Hope should start an entrepreneurial institute. I said, right, John. He said, no, I'm serious. I think Hope could do this better than Yale. I said, what gives you that idea? And he said, well, because of the culture here and because of the students who come here to Hope. They're not just here to be business majors, they're here to be all different kinds of people, a real liberal arts place. And so last year we began the Hope Entrepreneurial Institute. And we're very hopeful and confident that this will materialize into something very, very significant for Hope. John, there are so many things I like about you, and one of the ones I think is perhaps most evident to me, I just like your hairdo. We need to stick together. But John, thank you for all that you have meant to Hope in the past and all you mean today. And then Bill, what a marvelous career you have had for all these years. A football player at Hope, chemistry major. Some of the names that you mentioned tonight are the same names that influenced my life in positive ways, and people for whom I shall forever be grateful. And I remember really first meeting you on, I think, a fundraising trip when you were very generous to Hope. And I learned about this marvelous career, serving our country, to be sure, in the military, but now certifying hospitals throughout the world. Can you imagine a single person visiting over 500 different hospitals, not just in Ottawa County and Holland, Michigan, and even Michigan or even the United States, but all over the world? This is the person that goes to pass judgment on whether hospitals really pass the mustard or not. And a career also in academic circles where you've taught, I look back and say, wow, what a career you've had and how God has used you in such marvelous ways. Bill, thanks for all that you've meant, not only to Hope, to our military, but also to the world for your commitment to quality health care. We're grateful. Well, this is a night that stirs men's and women's souls, I think. It does mine, to be sure. I can't help but reflect on the years that I have had at Hope. And I suspect that for certain the class of '61 must be thinking the same things that I'm thinking tonight. Classmates, many of them around the tables that you occupy tonight. Your friends who influenced you in so many positive ways, who could have torn you down, but didn't. Instead, they built you up, perhaps made you even better than you thought you could be. And faculty members, some of them even in this room tonight, and coaches and directors, people who shaped our lives in such wonderful ways. Yes, this is a night really to reflect, isn't it? A night to give thanks to Almighty God for placing people in our lives who have made a difference. You know, hope is kind of a pathway to a purposeful life. Students pass through, we have them for a mere 4 years, but then they go out and make a difference in the world, a difference for good, a difference that all of us feel and know in such wonderful ways. I'm going to conclude with a story tonight that some of you have heard before, and I made a commitment to myself that I'm not going to tell this story again. This is the last time. And it isn't just the last time because I don't think you'll want to hear it again or I won't want to tell it, but because I think it's such a significant story that it deserves to be put to bed with a little honor. And so tonight is the last time I'll tell it. He was a wonderful student here at Hope. I met him during his sophomore year. He was so humble and innocent, really, kind of refreshingly naive, I thought. We were in a play together, a skit, really, for an incoming freshman class. And he wore a light blue cardigan sweater. I'll never forget it. I thought he looked like Mr. Rogers. But he went on. He was vice president of Student Congress and then president of Student Congress. When he was a senior, he went on the Washington semester, a really special program in Washington, D.C. Some of you from the D.C. area especially know how good this program is. He interned at the White House. And after he finished, he landed a job with a congresswoman here in Michigan, and he worked for her for 2 years. And then the suggestion that he go to graduate school. Well, where should I go to graduate school? And people said, well, Harvard, of course, to the Kennedy School. Could I really get into Harvard? I mean, I'm just Matt from this small school. Well, after he graduated from the Kennedy School at Harvard, he was hired within days at the United States Treasury Department. He worked there for a couple of years, and then he was appointed deputy vice president at the New York Stock Exchange. He came back to campus last spring, about this time actually, and he spoke on the topic with this title, From the White House to Wall Street. During the question and answer period, I asked Matt, how do you explain such a meteoric rise in your career before the age of 30? He said, well, connections, you know. I said, so it's who you know that counts, right? Not really, he said. It's who you know who cares about you that counts. And I thought to myself, that's the hope I know. People who care about you and me and everyone else at Hope. Yes, it was the Vanderbushes and the DeVettes and the Brewers and the Wellers and the Brinks and the Jekylls and so many others. And yes, it was the other people that you have the opportunity to work with, the Dirksies and the Smiths and the Vanderbilts, and today, so many other talented people. But it's the people who care about you that really make a difference. It's this Hope College pathway to a purposeful life that makes a difference. And so tonight, I want to thank all of you for attending this alumni banquet, especially the class of '61 for your return, but the other reunion classes as well, and indeed to all of you who are here to bear witness to this special place we call Hope. I love this place. Marty and I have been physically present on the Hope campus now for at least part of the last 7 consecutive decades. It's a privilege that we don't take lightly. We have a talented faculty, a superb staff and administrative team, and very, very talented students. Students who, like our distinguished alums tonight and the winner of our Meritorious Service Award, will go out from this place in 1 week, the largest group ever, and will make a mark for good in the world so that ours can be a better world in the name of Jesus Christ. It doesn't really get much better than that. And I say this to you in the most sincerest way. It happens because of you and other alums at Hope and the grace and favor of a God who loves us and cares for us. Thank you. And now Melissa Nienhuis-Boersma will play for us the Hope Alma Mater, and I believe we're also going to sing In That Dear Old Town of Holland, Michigan. Would you like to sing that one first? Okay, and I would like to ask you to stand for the singing of these two songs, after which we're adjourned.